After playing Ground Zeroes to death and watching the E3 trailer countless times, it's now the long wait for the release of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. So now I think it's a good time to reflect on what makes the whole Metal Gear Solid series amazing and what has led me to build up quite a collection. But for starters, here's a super speedy overview of the Metal Gear timeline so far. The timeline begins with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, set in 1964. The second entry is the PSP title Portable Ops, taking place in 1970. This is then followed by the next PSP title, Peace Walker, set in 1974. Taking place a year later, we have the latest release in the series, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Next, we move on to 1984 with a yet-to-be-released installment of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Fast forward to 1995, we have Metal Gear, which was the first game to be released in the series for the MXS2. Then, set in 1999, is its sequel, Metal Gear 2. Then, the game that got me into the series, Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation, is set in 2005. Following that is Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, first part taking place in 2007 and the second in 2009. Jumping ahead to 2014 we have Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Then finally set in 2018 is Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Metal Gear Solid is arguably the most cinematic video game series in history. The story is engaging, the characters have depth, the cutscenes are on par with those of Hollywood films, and we can't forget the amazing and engaging dialogue.
Colonel, I've got Emma Emmerich here. We've managed to avoid drowning.
With a strong cinematic approach, a lot of different emotions are thrown at the player, much better than any game I can think of. To be completely honest, one of the most prominent emotions that come to mind is actually fear. The first example I can probably pass off as being due to me playing the first Metal Gear Solid games at a younger age, but the others I'm not so sure. I can remember the lead up to the ninja boss fight from Metal Gear Solid 1 completely freaking me out.
Looks like they were cut by some type of blade.
Another example from Metal Gear Solid 1 again was a lead up to a boss battle, but this time it was the fight with Psycho Mantis.
Are you okay?
Metal Gear Solid 3 weighs in as well, with the boss fight against the Sorrow. It wasn't the most scary thing in the world, but just unnerving enough to warrant a mention. But the most recent example to throw me into a nervous disposition was the Laughing Octopus boss fight from Metal Gear Solid 4. It was just the perfect blend of anxiety and claustrophobia. Another prominent emotion throughout the series is sadness, mainly from the large amount of death scenes from all the characters you get to know and love because of all of their deep backstories. Sticking with the movie comparisons, as with any great films, there are a lot of memorable scenes throughout the series, such as Snake and Otacon's super hip and down with a kid's handshake, Chico's rescue from Peace Walker.
I just wasted a bullet. Don't waste your life. Listen to me, Chico. You died here today. You understand? You're hombre nuevo, a new man. Now, give that new life to me.
And Raiden and Vamp's fight from Metal Gear Solid 4. But best of all, who can forget the famous ladder section from Metal Gear Solid 3?
You're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Whilst the cinematic approach is one of my favourite aspects of the series, all the games get a lot of stick for being oversaturated with cutscenes and being too story heavy. And I think it's mainly from those who haven't invested too much time into the series. Any fan of the series can tell you that there are a lot of comic relief moments crammed in to balance things out. The most prominent example is probably the recurring use of cardboard boxes. Other comical moments that come to mind are things like the Monster Hunter Easter egg in Peace Walker.
Sounds perfect.
Also, in Metal Gear Solid 2, be in the wrong place at the wrong time and get peed on.
What? I'm going to go in my pants.
And in Metal Gear Solid 4, there's some accidental statue castration. And it looks like the comic relief is set to continue in the Phantom Pain. Another of my favourite aspects is the fourth wall breaking elements.
Oh, wait! We're on PlayStation 3!
I'd say the most famous instance is the Psycho Mantis fight from the first Metal Gear Solid, where he reads the data on your memory card, and also moves your controller across the floor using the rumble feature. But my favourite was definitely this bit from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Raiden, turn the game console off right now.
What did you say?
It caught me off guard and actually almost fooled me, because at this point on my first playthrough I'd actually been playing for quite a while. If I had to pick a favourite game from the series, it would have to be Metal Gear Solid 1, and I think it's safe to say that nostalgia plays a big part in that decision. I've lost count the number of times I've completed and replayed each of the games, and I see no reason that I'm not going to continue to do so anytime soon. The wait for the Phantom Pain might be a long one, but I've got plenty of timeless classics to keep me going till then.